We just can't be doing that anymore. Not only how bad it is for the environment, but it is illegal. If you get caught with something being dumped in your yard, you're gonna get in a bunch of trouble. So that's why I made sure to dump that in my neighbor's yard. I'm joking. Obviously, I'm joking. Probably. What's up? This is Casey from Casey's Customs. In this series, I am building a hot rod for under $3,500. In this video, I finish up the rear airbags. We go ahead and drop the front end as well, and then we put the body back on. Let's get going. We are back on the beautiful 1951 Chevy. It doesn't look like a 1951 Chevy right now, but we're hoping to fix that this episode. On the last episode, I got the 4-link started. Well, I got the rear airbag started, not the 4-link. But I got our C-notch done. I got all of our cross bracing. A lot of stuff. I got the bags in there. It's actually sitting up and down with the bags. But without any 4-links in there, everything can kind of just go wherever in the hell it wants. So that's a problem. So we're gonna fix that right now. In case you're not familiar with airbags, let me show you. So your airbags, they act as your suspension, but they don't act as your suspension, if that makes any sense. Your airbags are just a coil spring, essentially. It's just air controlled. But there's nothing that holds anything in place now because we don't have a leaf spring to hold it. We don't have any sort of, coil springs or any of that. So now there's literally nothing there. This is all very loose. And honestly, they're not strong at all. They just go up and down. So you really need a solid suspension setup to hold everything in place. That's where these links come in. This is called a 4-link. Now there's a million different ways to do this. The way I'm going to try and do it is a modified triangular 4-link. A triangle 4-link is you have 2 bars on the bottom that go straight, and then your upper bars go in like a triangle. That triangle forces it from going this way. On a normal 4-link, you would have 2 bars going straight, 2 bars going straight, and then you'd have a panhard bar that would just basically go from the rear end to the frame rail that doesn't let it go side to side. Triangle 4-link, you don't have to have a panhard bar because it does that on its own. The only problem I have is I have a giant gas tank that goes right here. And as you can see, I have all this fun stuff still connected. I really don't want to have to redo any of that. So I'm going to do my normal bottom link because the gas tank's up high enough it doesn't affect any of that. And my bottom link should just run parallel with the frame. It'll just be lower. And then on my upper link, we're going to throw the gas tank back in and see what I can come up with. A lot of guys, when they do these S10s, they'll do what's called a dog leg. So you would still have your 2 points like you would do a triangle, and they basically come together like over here, and then they go in to one single mount. Basically, I said all that just to, kind of tell you what's going on, but none of that makes sense if you don't know what I'm talking about. All right, I got the back bracket basically where it's gonna be, and I'm kind of just trying to see where the front one is. Check this out. I mean, it's basically perfect if I cut those little wings off, and I can just weld that entire plate on the bottom. I really like that a lot. So I think what I'm gonna do is just cut these guys off. I'll be able to put that whole plate up there, and what I might do is maybe run that plate out just a little bit outside of the frame. And then that, not only would that give me a big old weld that I can put there, but I can also put like a fish plate on the other side of it. So instead of just having this welded to the bottom of the frame, it'll kind of tie in the whole side and the bottom. It'll be fine either way, but I think since we're gonna go ahead and lose these wings, it might be nice to have basically another side here. So it basically turns it into a big chunk of angle iron we can throw up there. But that's gonna work out perfect. That's about the angle it needs to be. And that's even down. Obviously, when that's up, on the frame, it's even better. And these should be parallel. You always want these to be parallel. And what's cool, I can essentially slide that wherever it needs to be to make the bars parallel. It doesn't have to be here. It can be up here. It all just gradually goes up, and it should match, or it's close enough to the angle that we want. I need to whack these guys off and then get all this ground smooth. And then I'm going to wait till tomorrow, get my dad to help me. I want to double check my wheelbase before I start locking stuff in. 4 links are adjustable, which is really cool. This is threaded out like an inch or 2. So you can always square it up, But in my experience, it's nice to just get everything where it needs to be right off the bat when you build it, because I've built them before and then you find out something's a ½ inch off and you just really have to change every single thing. So it's easier just to make everything square, make everything level, and build it that way. When you're doing your wheelbase by yourself, you know, you're putting like a jack up to the front. You can get it pretty close, but it's not as nice as just having somebody holding a tape measure. And then you do an X measurement to make sure everything's great. Like if you're new to this, what you can do is pick a spot on your frame rail, because it's always going to be symmetrical from the factory. So like these, I think these were normally a bump stop. I know my bump stops are going to be exactly in line with everything, so you can use them as a measuring point on a close scale, and then, you know, obviously go farther out. The longer you can make your X, the better. It's so hot. It's fucking midnight and it's still 100 degrees right now, but let's cut these brackets. Somebody asked in one of my other videos, why do I use so much time lapse, you know, when I'm going? Well, let me show you. That's one cut. I have 10 more to go, and then I also have to grind all those cuts. Can you imagine listening to that on a video? That's why we have to do time lapse a lot. Also, it'd be like 3 hours of me grinding every freaking episode. Okay, so my dad was here. He helped me. We got the wheelbase perfect. Made sure everything was square. The distance between my tire and my frame is perfect. Everything's level. So basically our bars are ready to go in. Everything's where it needs to be. Nothing's crooked. And I'm gonna go ahead and grind the bottom of this, because we kind of already know where that's gonna go. I'm gonna get this all ground to bare metal, and then hopefully we can get our bottom bars in there. Then we might go clean out the gas tank and try and get the gas tank back up in there and see how we're gonna figure out these top bars. Also, fun fact, it is Monday at 10:32 p.m. and the current heat index is 94. 10:30 at night, it's 94. It's ridiculous. So I work at night now because my kid is in first grade, and so my schedule's changed a little bit. So I'm only working on this at night, which I usually do anyway, but it's definitely official now because I only have basically 8 hours during the day now in between him going to school. So that's all spent on customer cars, and then when he goes to bed, I come out and work in this. But usually the benefit of working at night is how cool it is. It is, I mean, I've already drank a half a gallon of water in like an hour. It's just so fucking miserable. I'm in Missouri. I can't imagine how bad it is for people more south than me. So I just wanted to whine about that for a little bit. Gas tank is empty. I got it drained, I got it washed out. I got all the openings closed, so I can't get any sparks down in there. Everything's sealed, and it's light now. It had 15 gallons in it, so it was crazy heavy. 15 gallons of gas is just super heavy, and it's also awkward. So make sure whenever you're getting rid of your gas, you take it to a proper place. I mean, it's 2021. We need to start taking care of the earth a little bit better. Back in the day, guys would dump that in their yard, you know, and we just can't be doing that anymore. Not only how bad it is for the environment, but it is illegal. If you get caught with something being dumped in your yard, you're going to get in a bunch of trouble. So that's why I made sure to dump that in my neighbor's yard. I'm joking. Obviously, I'm joking. Probably. Oh, I was going to say one cool thing. Whenever I got my lower links in, I didn't plan on this. I was just measuring everything where it needs to be. But the bottom of my lower link, goddamn it, that's so hot. Ow! Ow! Ow. The bottom of my lower link actually butted up to the old, that's where the old leaf spring mount used to be. And there's a bracket and it's welded there. And this 4-link bracket actually butted right up against it. And without even knowing that, just doing my measurements, when I went to the other side, I do all my measurements, it's stuck right to the same bracket. So I know everything's perfect because, not only because of all the measurements, but because those mounts were for leaf springs, so I know they were perfect, which is kind of cool. It's like a little happy coincidence. Now, I gotta try and wrestle that in there. The problem is, it's not heavy or anything now, but it's still awkward. And I kind of got my jack stands and everything perfect. I mean, you can see my levels right where it needs to be. So I don't really want to undo any of that. So I'm going to try and just kind of skid it under there and hopefully get it in place. But we'll see. Got the gas tank in. That took entirely too long. It's like 1 a.m. I gotta go take a shower and get up in 6 or 7 hours, but it's where it needs to be. I got clearance for all the lower bars. Everything is cool there, which I wasn't super worried about it, but I was kind of worried about it. My only problem is I don't quite understand where I'm gonna put my upper bars. My whole plan originally was to run a cross brace across there and then tie them into that. The only thing is, for some reason, I thought the gas tank was down about 2 inches and I was gonna run the bar above the gas tank, but that's not possible because the gas tank goes all the way up to the floor, basically. So I gotta get online and see what the S10 boys do, because they all bag this. And I know people do it with leaving the stock tank. If I absolutely had to, I can relocate the tank. I really don't want to. It works good where it's at. I mean, everything's cool. Everything has clearance. We just have to figure out how to run our top bars, because you gotta have top bars. I don't know where I'm gonna put them. I was thinking maybe I could do a normal 4-link and then, run a panhard bar, but there's no room the way I did it. You can't get away with it. There's no way to have an upper bar in here. It has to be in there somewhere. So I go take a shower, go to bed, and look at some pictures on the internet. We'll try all this again tomorrow. I am disgusting. That was entirely too hard to get back in there, I'll tell you that much. even empty. I mean, it's bone dry, it weighs nothing, and it still took over an hour to get the damn thing back in there. The good news is, if I get this figured out, I might not have to take it out again. Well, I take that back. I will have to take it out because I got to get to some of the welds in there. But it should be easier the second time, crossing our fingers. So it is the next day and we have made some headway. I have been referencing a S10 truck. Wait a minute, can I hit that? Whoa, widescreen, baby. So I have been referencing an S10 truck while I've been doing my airbags. I've had a bunch of these, they're all pretty familiar. I didn't realize that the Blazer was slightly different when it comes to cross members. I didn't realize is there's a floor brace there, and then behind that is actually a cross member. It's a cross member in the exact same shape as the floor. So you have a floor brace right here, and you have a cross member here. I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this body mount. So I'm going to cut right here and then all the way across. Okay, so I got the frame exposed. This is gonna work out great. I did run into a little bit of an issue. When I measured this, I am an idiot, and I was just measuring it like this. I was thinking, oh, that'll be plenty of room. Well, that doesn't really work that way because there's no way to get a bolt in and out of there. So what I'm gonna do is tweak this setup a bit, and I'm actually going to drill a hole in my bag mount right there. And I'll bolt in there, and then I'll have one of these tabs will go on that side of the axle. But what I would do if this was not a cast rear end, if this was a steel rear end, I could actually just run my bar right there somewhere. But this is cast. It is cast steel, but it doesn't hold a weld very good, so it's not a good idea to weld it. Another thing I could do, they make a cradle that actually bolts to the back of it that basically puts a piece of steel across the whole top, and you can weld to that. I don't need to do that though. And also, for this setup, it's not exactly what I want because that would put my bars up too high. I don't want them angling down or anything. So this is going to work out fine. And then we're going to have to really modify our bars because none of them are at the right angle right now. And this one here, after we drill it, we're going to have it kind of come around like that. That will bolt in square, and then we're going to have the bar do do some silly stuff. So, but right now I need to get these drilled, and so I can at least get these mocked up so we can kind of figure out what we're gonna do. The goal is to have them both triangulate. This one, not a ton. You know, this one doesn't need to go way over. This one will kind of, not straight by any means, but just have a little bit of an angle. This one will come out, go around that, and then up like that, almost like an S. And then they'll connect here in a triangle, and then I'll have one point going straight to that. The ones I've seen online, the guys actually run them over here. I don't know why exactly. I don't know if there's a reason why it needs to be off to the side instead of the middle. Maybe it's for drive shaft clearance. I don't know. I'll run into that whenever I get to it. But oh, cool! I just cut my leg wide open. Hey, that's fun. Hey, thanks, buddy. I got the holes drilled. Now we get really creative. I took a piece of brake line, got it bent up. Here's kind of what I need the bar to look like. So we need to go away from the gas tank, and I need to get it over here somewhere. I can buy this online, but I wanted to try and make it, especially since I have bars and I have extra bars for length. The only problem is nowhere in town can bend 1.25 1.5 tubing. I have this old tube bender. It's kind of a piece of shit. It's a Harbor Freight thing. I bought it 15 years ago. It works, but it doesn't work. It will pinch the tube. It'll just, instead of bending it, it'll just pinch it. So you have to be really easy with it. And instead of just bending it in one spot, you got to kind of like keep moving it around to get a gradual curve. So I'm going to try and make it work with this, but I'm worried it won't be able to make a sharp enough bend without messing something up. But let's see. Luckily, even if this messes up, like I said, I can order a new one. But obviously that's just time, and you know, it takes 2 weeks to get here. And even the one I get obviously won't be perfect. I'll have to adjust it because every 4-link is a little different. Get work with what we have. So that worked perfect. I'm actually very surprised. I kind of assumed I was going to ruin a pipe. I just put it in there. It worked perfect. Didn't pinch at all. Just bent it. Absolutely so happy. You don't understand. I called like 10 people today trying to find somebody to bend some pipe for me. We're stoked. I'm going to bolt these back in and figure out where I need to cut them. We're going to turn them into a wishbone and then have one mount in the front. Whoa! Fuck that tripod. So these ended up being bended perfect. I got all my angles exactly where I want. Everything's parallel this way, that way. The only thing I did that I don't love is this transition. I got it all welded to shit, and I ran out of gas halfway through, which was cool. The plan is to mold all this into one piece. So I'll have a piece connecting there, so that'll be blended. I'll have a piece connecting here, and then this will go away essentially. I'll probably run another piece maybe up a little bit more, but all this will be blended in. It's gonna do a lot of welding, a lot of grinding, but I wanted to make sure all my mounts were perfect before I worried about cosmetics. So it looks like shit right now, but everything is square where it needs to be. All my angles are pointing where they need to be. Move the rear end up and down a couple times, none of my drive shaft's hitting, so we should be good. I got everything tacked. I'm gonna let it cool and I'll pull it all out of there, and then we'll worry about making it pretty. Now it's time to make it pretty. I'm down in my other shop because I think it's 107 today in Missouri, which is just kind of disgusting. But I did have somebody ask the other day for some video in the other shop. So this is my main shop. This is actually where I work every day. The shop you guys see most of my videos in, that's just the home shop. I got a 56 Chevy here, getting airbagged. I also put a modern Camaro dash and center console in it, mounting the seats. I hid all the airbag stuff under it in the quarter panel. Ton of work in this one. We're also painting it. The 72 Suburban, I built new motor, new tranny, all new airbag suspension, tons of work, all new rust repair. I replaced both quarter panels, bottoms of the doors, bottom of the fenders, everything. We're doing a patina paint job on it right now. And then this is a 55 Ford. I built the frame from scratch. got airbags too. Everything in here has got airbags right now. I built this one from scratch, the frame from scratch, everything, all the mounts, built the floor from scratch. All this was nothing. So this is gonna be a big time show truck whenever it's done. Built the firewall from scratch, just a ton of work on this one. We're still going, I gotta get some running boards made up for it, but anyways, this is what we're doing with this one. Right now, like I said, everything is good and solid, but it's ugly, so I gotta make it pretty now. I'm gonna put a bar here to tie that in, and then a bar there, and then mold that in a little bit better so it's not just a step off. And we'll grind it all smooth and see how it looks. So I might have took the meaning wishbone link a little too seriously, because that really looks like a wishbone. Now I know everything is square, and it's pretty now. Oh, it's pretty enough. It's also super strong. I didn't even really need to add that second 1.25" pipe, but I kind of like that it's 2 all the way up, and then blended it all together into 1. So it'll be plenty strong, and it looks pretty good. Let's go install it. She's in there. That's a wishbone if I ever saw one. Here's a cool test. It's kind of like a redneck white trash test to see if your 4-link is working, but stand on the pumpkin. Right on the very edge of the pumpkin, bouncing up and down. Nothing's flexing, nothing's moving. So, it's a good sign. Nothing's gonna kick up on you, and you got it, kind of properly. This is obviously just a very generic way to do it, but I've seen guys set them up before, and you can just walk over and just push it down, because it's not angled enough right to hold stuff in place. So another thing is side to side. I got nothing side to side, which is good. So should work out pretty well. All my stuff is dead square, even after welding. I was worried when I welded that these would want to pinch in, but luckily they didn't. That's some really thick tubing. You can warp about anything with a weld, but I mean that stuff is really thick. So I'm beat. I have so many hours in this stupid thing. It's getting crazy this week, but I just wanted to get all the suspension work done. I'm gonna go ahead and start messing with these front dropped links. We got to take out the stock ones and put these in. That should give us about 3 inches of drop. And then we'll get more drop when we get rid of these big tires. But it's super late, so I'm only going to work about another 10 minutes. But hopefully I can see if I can't pop one of these damn things out real quick, see what it looks like. So, naturally, all the suspension parts under there are rusted solid. And I'm having to hit it with a hammer. And I can't get any really good camera angles under there. So what we're going to do, I want to do a before and after. I'm right at about 6 inches. About 6 inches from the tire to this inner fender. Now this inner fender is not really solid, but still a pretty good 5 7/8. I'm going to go ahead and do all the work, and what we'll do whenever I get it done, we'll lay it back down and see where we're at as far as how much drop we get. I think I'm supposed to get like 2 to 3 inches, but I'm not sure. So let's find out. Okay, well, about 6 hours have passed. That was a much bigger pain in the ass than I thought it was going to be. I saw online where guys said it took them, I think they said, oh, I got it in and out in 20 minutes. Well, that's not the case with me. Actually, us Midwesterns, we got to have good rusty parts. I had to hit this with a hammer about 20 times, and then I took my air chisel and ran it on it, and that actually kind of vibrated it off a little bit easier. So, I got it up on my jack stands. This is where it was, stock height. I haven't let it off the jack stand yet, so I don't know how much it's going to drop. We're going to find out right now. Holy shit. Wait. Wow, okay. Oh, shit. I might need to adjust that a little bit. Oh, I wasn't expecting for that much. I went from 5 7/8 to 1 7/8, so I lost 4 inches. Holy cow. I got a full 4 inches of drop. I was not expecting that much. That's pretty awesome. Now what we need to do, I got the bags aired up. What I need to do is let my bags down and see where we're at. Oh yeah, we're hammered. We are super low. Holy shit. I was not expecting to make it that low.
Magic.
I'm actually gonna raise it up a little bit. That's almost a little too much in the front. I'm gonna raise it back up. Luckily, the torsion bars, you tighten up a bolt and you can actually raise it, an inch or so. I'll probably end up raising it up a little bit. It looks good though. Sweet. Oh, that's exciting. I think it's time to try and put the old body on. Way too many hours in this video already, but I want to try and at least throw it on, see what it looks like. I gotta get Pinky out of the way first, but we're at least 30 some odd hours in this week's video. I mean, the links ended up being a bigger thing than I thought. So anyways, but yeah, let's try and throw the body on. It looks pretty good. Here's the funny thing. That's my airbags way up because right now, these giant monster truck wheels are hitting the inner fenders, which I'm gonna end up cutting all those out anyway. Whenever that's all out, this bumper, like, see where my quarter panels are? The bumper goes below that. So where it sits, even with these giant mud tires on, my bumper is probably 4 inches off the ground. So I get some of that cut out, I get the right tires on, and she'll be laying bumper. Looks so good. Really happy. Moving the wheelbase obviously changed all this situation, so we're gonna have to figure that out. Just fun. I don't hate it though. It's not as bad. It actually needs to come up a little bit, but I don't hate it. I was worried it would be too far forward. It's a little forward, but it's not nearly as bad as it could be. So, and like I said, I still need to move it up a little bit. As you can tell, my wheel isn't exactly centered. Probably could go up another 2 inches. So 2 inches will help me. The thing you don't want whenever you're building these, doing these big chassis swaps, you don't want stuff so far forward or so far back that like your head is right here or your head is back here. You know, you look like a weirdo driving it. Super stoked. It looks pretty good too. That front end is low. The only thing I don't love right off the bat is how long this whole situation is looking. Don't like that. Have to figure something out there. Obviously, they got a huge front lip in their fender, but we'll have to throw a fender up there before. The body's coming back off as soon as I'm done filming, because I got to cut all that. I got to cut this. I got to cut all that in the back. And what we'll do next episode is I'll probably bolt the fender up and then try and position it to where, you know, my wheels are centered in both fenders. And then we'll lock it down, and you can see how much stuff needs built back here. We got to build this whole situation now. Looks good. Looks really good. But I'm hot. That's an episode. Peace. Thank you guys very much for watching. In the next episode, we're going to go over the budget. I forgot to do that this episode. I ran out of time. We're also going to pull this body off and make some of these cuts better so it'll lay a little bit lower. And hopefully we can start fitting our front end on a little bit too. So stay tuned for all that. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff I tell you at the end of videos, and check out some more of my other videos. Peace.